We have entered a tremendously exciting time in the state of Michigan. It's a time like no other time. I believe it's a time like no time since I have lived in the state of Michigan, which is a long time. In November of last year, Chuck Pierce brought forth the prophetic word that this state, the state of Michigan, would be key through 2008. And if this nation would make the shift, if we would do our part, we could change the entire nation. Years ago, when Chuck first started coming to the state, he said that as Michigan goes, so goes the nation. And he said, I believe that Michigan may have just entered its most critical year last November. This summer, when Dr. Peter and Doris Wagner, as well as Chuck Pierce, were here with the Global Harvest Conference in Dearborn, Michigan, talking about opening the gate to the nations in the middle of the Islamic community, Cindy Jacobs was one of the speakers. Going along with what Chuck Pierce said, basically, he was prophesying last November that we were entering a new day. We didn't know what that meant. We just knew that's what he was saying. But when Cindy was here, Cindy gave a prophetic word to the state of Michigan and said that God was giving a word to Michigan to enter in to 35 days of prayer this fall to transform the economy, transform the state, which would ultimately turn the nation. And she said that the Lord had instructed her that this time of prayer should be at 6 a.m. in the morning. Wake up, everybody. In other words, we were to break open the new day, the breaking open of the new day. Where you see it, it actually begins at 6 p.m. the night before. But where we really begin to see it, we were to break it open through 35 days of prayer, transforming the economy, transforming government, transforming the state, and through this time of prayer, churches coming together and praying, churches praying individually, individuals praying, prayer leaders gathering houses of prayer, people praying in businesses across the state of Michigan, wherever they are, at 6 a.m. in the morning, joining together to pray for this state and to say that this state shall be transformed. In other words, that this state will enter into the new day. We can look at what's happening. It can look like a mess. But God talked to messes in the beginning of the Bible. In Genesis chapter 1-2, he began the entire Bible in the middle of a void, chaotic, dark, death-filled mass of nothingness. In other words, he began it in a mess because that gives you and I the hope of restoration. He came in and he sat on that mess until his word came forth, and his word began to transform that mass of nothingness into what we now call the earth. And the first thing he did was he turned the lights on. We are turning the lights on to revelation, the uncovering of new ideas, the uncovering of new businesses, the uncovering of a new economy, the uncovering of a government that's not here for government's sake, that's here, like David said, government is for the sake of the people. We have people sustaining government rather than the government sustaining and ministering to people. But the church must lead the way in this. How are we going to lead the way? We're going to become a prayer furnace, a place of passion and purpose to transform this place. And most of all, we need senior pastors to lead their churches into a new place of prayer every morning at 6 a.m. for 35 days. This will begin again September 30th, the beginning of the head of the year, or the breaking open of the new biblical new year. And then we'll end it November 3rd, which is Monday, the day right before the election, when I just had this sense from God that we were to begin it at the beginning of the head of the year, the new year, the opening of the new year. And Cindy said 35 days of prayer, and that ends, the last day is Monday, November 3rd. Just think about that. God has orchestrated this thing to lead us right into the election. What are we praying for again? We're praying for the transformation of the economy. We're praying for new entrepreneurial ideas. We're praying for new innovations and creativity to come forth in this state. And so I invite you to join with us, breaking open every morning at 6 a.m. with prayer, declaring over people, declaring over your congregation, declaring over your house of prayer, declaring over yourself, over your family, over your business, over everything that walks, talks, moves, breathes, over anything you can find, because God is doing a new thing. I have never been more excited. We've never had a more difficult year than this last year, but I've never been more excited than I am now about what God is doing. We are entering a time of momentum. We're entering a time of the miraculous where God wants to intervene. And that week following the week that we're ending the prayer, November 6th through 8th, we're having our fall worship and intercession conference, November 6th through 8th. We're calling it a transformed heart for the harvest. Where did all this happen? It happened at Dearborn. We're believing that God is going to break through this state in key areas. He's going to break through in pockets. He's going to begin all over this state and break out with His presence, with His power, with His love, with His grace, with His compassion. We're going to begin to see a harvest of souls, a harvest for God's kingdom's sake. Again, join with me. God has orchestrated this time of prayer, calling God's heaven to enter into the earth realm through 35 days of prayer, breaking open the morning of every day, starting with the biblical New Year, September 30th. Join with me. Email us at cwilliams@shekinahchurch.org if you plan to join with us, or you can call 734-662-6040. Again, 734-662-6040. Or you can just get on the website and email us. We'll be sending out a detailed directive again. Join with us. We've never been in a more exciting time. This is a time orchestrated by the Lord, a Kairos time. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are going to rejoice. We're going to be glad. We have an opportunity by the end of 2008 to see more miracles, more breakthroughs than we've seen for years. God bless you. Join with us and break out on the right and on the left. For the barrenness is breaking off of you, breaking off of your family, breaking off of your church, breaking off of your state. God is sitting on your circumstances. Enter in and break open the day, declaring the purposes of God every morning, 6 a.m. God bless you.